Welcome to Conscious Chronicles. Before we delve into today's story, I have to thank you all for getting me to the 100 subscriber mark. I am creating these videos because I have a passion for telling stories. So I just want to say a big thank you if you subscribed. And if you haven't and would like to help a soul out by reaching his next target of 200 subscribers, you know what to click. Now let's dive straight in, and I hope you enjoy this beautiful story. Our story begins on a seemingly ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Sarah, a young professional, was wrapping up her day at work. She was thinking about her upcoming presentation, her mind filled with the usual hustle and bustle of daily life. The office was quiet, the soft hum of computers and the occasional rustle of papers creating a backdrop to her thoughts. She said her goodbyes to her colleagues and headed to her car, unaware that this routine drive home would mark the beginning of a profound journey. As she settled into the driver's seat, the sun was beginning its descent, casting a warm golden hue over everything it touched. Sarah turned on the radio, the familiar tunes filling the car as she pulled out of the parking lot. The streets were peaceful, the kind of tranquility that comes with the end of a busy day. Little did she know, this drive would lead her into an experience that would change her understanding of life and existence forever. The world can change in an instant. One moment, life is vibrant, full of color and sound. Still driving home from work, lost in thought about her upcoming presentation. The sun setting beautifully, suddenly a deer leaped from the trees directly into her path, the screech of brakes, the shattering of glass, then silence. Sarah's world dissolved into a void of nothingness. No pain, no fear, just an overwhelming sense of peace. It was as if her consciousness had detached from her physical body, floating adrift in a sea of tranquility. She was aware, yet detached, an observer in her own ethereal journey. This was not sleep. This was something far more profound. It was the beginning of Sarah's journey beyond the veil. A journey into the heart of what lies beyond our earthly existence. Time, as we know it, ceased to exist. It was as if the very fabric of reality had been altered, leaving behind a void where the concept of time once resided. There were no minutes, no hours, only an endless expanse of now. The past and future had dissolved, leaving only the present moment, stretching infinitely in all directions. Sarah found herself in a place of profound stillness, a place where the cacophony of the world was replaced by a deafening silence. It was a silence so deep, it seemed to echo within her very being. Yet, it was not an empty silence. It was a silence filled with meaning, with a sense of anticipation that hung in the air. It was a silence brimming with potential, with unspoken possibilities. It was within this silence that Sarah began to sense other presences, like whispers on the wind. These presences were subtle, almost imperceptible, yet undeniably there. They were familiar, comforting, yet she couldn't quite place them. It was as if they were part of a forgotten dream lingering at the edge of her consciousness. As she drifted closer, drawn by an invisible force, the figures began to solidify. They moved from the realm of shadows into the light, becoming more distinct with each passing moment. Their features once shrouded became clearer, revealing faces etched with love and longing. These were faces she knew, faces that had been a part of her life. It was then that Sarah felt a jolt of recognition, a surge of emotion that resonated deep within her soul. It was a feeling of connection, of belonging. Standing before her, bathed in a gentle light, were her grandparents, their eyes twinkling with a mixture of amusement and concern. They seemed to radiate warmth and love. Relief washed over her. She wasn't alone. The presence of her grandparents reassured her, grounding her in this strange, timeless place. This wasn't the end, but rather a transition, a stepping stone to a realm beyond human comprehension. It was a journey into the unknown, guided by the familiar faces of those she loved. The meadow, once bathed in a soft, hazy light, began to brighten. In the distance, a single point of light pulsed with an otherworldly radiance. It drew Sarah towards it, beckoning her with an irresistible pull. She felt no fear, only a sense of overwhelming curiosity and a deep yearning to understand the mysteries unfolding before her. As she moved closer, she realized that the light wasn't simply a point of illumination. It possessed a consciousness, an awareness that felt both ancient and infinitely kind. It emanated a love so pure, so unconditional, that it brought tears to her eyes. This was a love that transcended all earthly bounds, a love that spoke of a connection to something far greater than herself. It was a love that whispered of home. Sarah's grandmother, her eyes sparkling with unshed tears, stepped forward. Her touch was a whisper of warmth against Sarah's hand, a tangible reminder of a love that transcended the boundaries of life and death. "My dear girl," she said, "we were so worried. But you're here now, safe in the embrace of forever." Overwhelmed by a wave of emotion, Sarah could only nod, tears streaming down her face. Words felt inadequate, mere shadows compared to the profound love that flowed between them. Her grandfather stepped forward, his eyes crinkled in a familiar smile, placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "There's no need for words, Sarah. We understand," he said, and in that moment, surrounded by the unwavering love of her grandparents, Sarah felt a sense of peace settle over her. The fear and confusion that had clouded her initial moments in this ethereal realm began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of wonder and a burgeoning curiosity. "Where are we?" Sarah finally asked, her voice barely a whisper. The question, though simple, held a universe of uncertainty. Was this heaven? A dream? A figment of my imagination? Her grandfather smiled, his eyes twinkling with wisdom. "This, my dear, is a place beyond human comprehension," he said, gesturing to the idyllic meadow that stretched out before them, a place where love transcends the boundaries of time and space. "But how? I don't understand." Her grandfather squeezed her shoulder gently. He said that death is simply a transition from one state to another. Your physical body may falter, but your spirit, your essence lives on. "We are all connected, Sarah," he continued, his voice filled with a deep understanding. "Life and death are but two sides of the same coin. They are forever intertwined." Sarah, still grappling with the profound implications of her grandfather's words, felt a wave of sadness wash over her. "But I will miss them," she whispered, her voice thick with unshed tears. "I will miss everyone." Her grandmother, sensing her distress, pulled her close, holding her in a warm embrace. "My dear, love knows no boundaries," she murmured soothingly. "Your love for them, their love for you, it transcends this physical realm. It exists in every beat of your heart, every breath you take, every thought you make. You are never truly separated," her grandfather added, his voice filled with reassurance. "The bonds of love are eternal, unbreakable, even in the face of death." Could it be true? Could love truly bridge the chasm between life and death? As Sarah absorbed the comforting presence of her grandparents, she noticed other figures beginning to materialize in the distance. They shimmered like heat waves, their forms indistinct, yet their energy familiar. A wave of recognition washed over her as she realized who they were. There was her childhood dog, Buster, his tail wagging furiously, his bark a joyful sound that echoed through the meadow. And there, standing arm in arm, were her great-grandparents, their faces etched with a lifetime of love and laughter. They smiled at her, their eyes filled with a warmth that transcended time and space. It was as if all the love she had ever known, all the love that had shaped her life, was converging in this one extraordinary place. And in that moment, Sarah understood. Death was not the end. It was simply a transition, a passage to a realm where love reigned supreme. "What is this?" she asked her great-grandmother. "This, my dear, is the river of your life. Every moment, every experience, every choice you've ever made, it's all recorded here." Sarah gazed at the reflections, mesmerized. She saw moments of joy and sorrow, triumph and failure, each one a brushstroke in the grand masterpiece of her existence. The stream wasn't a judgment, merely a reflection, a visual representation of the path she had walked in this lifetime. Intrigued, Sarah reached out to touch a particularly vivid reflection, a memory of her laughing uncontrollably with her best friend during a childhood game. As her fingers brushed the water's surface, the image expanded, pulling her into the memory itself. She found herself back in that moment, the warmth of the sun on her skin, the infectious laughter of her friend ringing in her ears. It was as if no time had passed, as if she were living that carefree moment all over again. We are not bound by time here, Sarah. You can revisit any moment, any experience, and see it with fresh eyes. As Sarah emerged from the memory, a question formed in her mind. What about the choices I made? The ones I regret? Can I change them? Her grandfather smiled gently. Every choice you made, Sarah, led you to this very moment. There are no mistakes, only lessons learned and experiences that shaped who you are. But what about the pain I caused? Can that be forgiven? Sarah's voice, thick with remorse, recalling a moment of anger that had led to harsh words spoken to a loved one. Forgiveness, my dear, begins with yourself, her grandmother interjected, her voice soft yet firm. You are not defined by your mistakes, but by your capacity for love and growth. Look, her grandfather urged, gesturing towards the stream. The reflections were shifting, swirling together, moments of joy and sorrow, kindness and anger, all blending into a complex, ever-changing tapestry. Your life, Sarah, is not a linear path, but a symphony of experiences, he explained. Every note, every chord, contributes to the beauty of the whole. As Sarah observed the interplay of light and shadow within the stream, she noticed something remarkable. It wasn't just her life reflected in the water, but glimpses of other lives, other souls, intertwined with her own. She saw her parents, her friends, even strangers she had only briefly encountered, their paths converging and diverging with her own. "We are all connected, Sarah," her grandmother murmured, echoing her grandfather's earlier words. "Every action, every word, every thought sends ripples through the tapestry of existence." It was a profound realization, one that filled her with a sense of responsibility and an overwhelming feeling of love for all beings. In that moment, Sarah understood that life wasn't merely about her individual journey, but about the collective experience of being. The stream of Sarah's life flowed ever onward, merging with a distant, radiant light that pulsed with an irresistible invitation. It was the same light Sarah had glimpsed upon, first entering this ethereal realm, but now it thrummed with an even greater intensity, drawing her toward it with an undeniable pull. "What is that light?" Sarah asked, her voice a mere whisper compared to the silent symphony of energy emanating from the source. "That, my dear," her grandmother answered, her voice filled with reverence, "is the source of all creation, the heart of unconditional love, the wellspring from which we all originate." A sense of peace washed over Sarah, calming the flurry of questions bubbling within her. There was no fear, only an overwhelming sense of homecoming, a yearning to merge with the light and understand the profound truths it held. As they drew closer, the light seemed to sing, a chorus of pure love and acceptance resonating through Sarah's very being. It whispered of a connection far beyond words, a belonging that transcended time and space. Within the radiance, Sarah perceived figures, their forms fluid and ever-shifting, yet radiating an overwhelming sense of familiarity. They were not individuals in the traditional sense, but rather aspects of a unified consciousness, each one a facet of the divine light. "Who are they?" she asked curiously. "They are you, and you are them," her grandfather answered, his voice filled with a profound understanding. "We are all part of the same divine spark, expressions of the one eternal source." As the light enveloped Sarah, she felt her individual sense of self dissolve, replaced by an all-encompassing unity. It was as if she were simultaneously everything and nothing, a single drop of water returning to the vastness of the ocean. Time ceased to exist. Sarah experienced the birth of stars, the swirling dance of galaxies, the intricate tapestry of life unfolding across eons. It was a breathtaking spectacle of creation, a cosmic ballet orchestrated by an unseen hand. Within this unified consciousness, knowledge flowed freely. Answers to questions Sarah hadn't even formulated presented themselves with crystal clarity. She understood the nature of the universe, the interconnectedness of all beings, the illusion of separation that clouded human perception. The love that permeated this realm was beyond anything Sarah had ever imagined. It was a love that knew no bounds, no conditions, a love that embraced every aspect of existence. From the smallest grain of sand to the grandest galaxy, fear, doubt, and regret simply couldn't exist in this space of pure love and understanding. They were but shadows, illusions cast by the limited perspective of the human experience. Will I remember this? Sarah wanted to know. Her question echoed within the vastness, a tiny ripple in the infinite ocean of knowing. The response, though unspoken, resonated deep within her being. Knowledge once glimpsed could never be fully forgotten. It would remain, a subtle hum beneath the surface of her consciousness, guiding her steps and shaping her perception of the world. As the intensity of the light gradually subsided, she felt a familiar pull, a gentle tug back towards her physical form. It was time to return, to carry the wisdom and love of this experience back to the realm of the living. Though a part of her yearned to remain within the embrace of the light, Sarah knew her journey was far from over. She had a newfound purpose, a responsibility to share the profound truths she had learned and to live a life that reflected the love and unity she had experienced. Before leaving, Sarah still had questions that she needed answers to. There is so much suffering in the world. Why? Why is there so much darkness, so much pain? As the light gradually softened and pulsed gently, its warmth a comforting presence. Though no words were spoken, Sarah felt a wave of profound compassion wash over her, an understanding that transcended the limitations of language. Suffering, she realized, was an inherent part of the human experience, a catalyst for growth and a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Time, as perceived in the human realm, dissolved within the embrace of the light. Past, present, and future merged into a single, eternal now. From this vantage point, Sarah could see that suffering was not an end in itself, but rather a catalyst for transformation. Imagine a seed buried deep within the earth. It must first endure the darkness, the pressure, the struggle to break free before it can emerge into the sunlight and blossom into its full potential. So, it was with the human soul. Through trials and tribulations, through pain and loss, the human spirit found strength, resilience, and a deeper understanding of its own innate capacity for love and compassion. But what about free will? If everything is predetermined, then what is the point of making choices? Do our decisions truly matter? The light pulsed, its energy expanding and contracting as if breathing. Every choice you make, every path you choose, creates a ripple effect throughout the tapestry of time. While the ultimate destination may be the same, the journey, the experiences you gather along the way, these are shaped by your choices. Free will, Sarah realized, was not about choosing between right and wrong, but about aligning oneself with the highest expression of love and compassion in each and every moment. It was about recognizing the power of her choices to shape not only her own destiny, but also the destiny of those around her. Is this the end? The thought of leaving this realm of pure love and understanding filled her with a profound sense of longing. Life and death are but two sides of the same coin. Just as the seasons turn, so too does the soul experience a continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Reincarnation, Sarah realized, was not merely a belief system, but a fundamental law of the universe, a continuous dance of energy and consciousness. With each lifetime, the soul gathered experiences, learned lessons, and evolved towards a greater understanding of its true nature. As the pull back towards her physical form intensified, Sarah was filled with a sense of profound gratitude. She had been granted a glimpse beyond the veil, a taste of the eternal love and wisdom that awaited her beyond the confines of her earthly existence. Will I remember all of this? You will remember what your heart needs to know. The knowledge, the love, the understanding. It will remain within you, a guiding light on your journey. And with that, Sarah felt herself being drawn back towards the physical realm, her consciousness slowly reintegrating with her earthly form. The memories of her experience, though slightly dimmed by the veil of human perception, would remain etched upon her soul, a guiding compass on her journey back to the heart of the light. The jarring sounds of the world pierced through the veil of Sarah's ethereal journey, pulling her back from the edge of a dreamlike state. The insistent beeping of a heart monitor replaced the harmonious symphony of the light, a stark reminder of her fragile existence. The sterile scent of disinfectant overwhelmed the sweet fragrance of the meadow, a harsh contrast to the serenity she had just left behind. Slowly, reluctantly, she opened her eyes. Her vision was blurry, shapes and colors blending together in a confusing haze, and her body felt heavy and unfamiliar, as if it belonged to someone else. A wave of disorientation washed over her. Where was she? What had happened? The questions swirled in her mind, unanswered and unsettling, as memories of the accident, the meadow, and the light came flooding back. She struggled to piece together the fragments of her experience. A profound sense of displacement settled upon her, as if she were caught between two worlds. The world she had awakened to seemed dull, muted, lacking the vibrancy and warmth of the realm she had so recently found herself in. A pale imitation of the vibrant realm she had so recently experienced, a place where colors danced and life felt boundless. A nurse rushed to her side, her movements quick and efficient, yet filled with a sense of urgency, her face a mask of concern, eyes scanning my face for signs of awareness. Her voice was a flurry of questions and reassurances, a mix of professional detachment and genuine care. But her words seemed distant, muffled, as if they were coming from the other side of a thick fog. The days that followed were a blur of medical tests, doctor's visits, and well-wishing visitors. Yet, Sarah found herself strangely detached from it all. The mundane concerns of her former life seemed trivial, insignificant in the face of the profound truth she had glimpsed beyond the veil. The fear of death, once a looming shadow in the recesses of my mind, had vanished entirely. I knew, with an unshakable certainty, that death was not the end, but rather a transition, a passage to a realm of infinite love and understanding. This knowledge, this deep inner peace, radiated outwards, subtly transforming her interactions with the world around her. She listened with greater empathy, spoke with greater kindness, and approached each moment with a newfound appreciation for the precious gift of life. The world hadn't changed, but she had. The veil had been lifted, and she no longer saw the world through the lens of fear and separation. The allure of the ethereal realm, the longing to return to the embrace of the light, remained with Sarah. She often found herself gazing at the sky, feeling a deep connection to something beyond. Yet, she also understood that her purpose lay not in escaping this world, but in embracing it fully, in finding beauty in the mundane and the everyday. Every touch, every glance, everything now held a deeper meaning. A shared smile with a stranger, a moment of genuine connection, a helping hand offered to a friend, a gesture of kindness, a moment of quiet contemplation amidst the bustle of daily life. These became sacred. Time, once a linear progression towards an unknown future, became a precious gift, a series of moments to be cherished. Each moment an opportunity to create, to bring something beautiful into the world, to connect, to love, to be present with those around us. The past, with its regrets and missed opportunities, faded into insignificance. It no longer held power over her. The future, with its uncertainties and potential for suffering, became less daunting. No longer held the power to instill fear. She faced it with courage and hope. All that truly mattered was the present moment, the here and now, the only space where love could truly be expressed, received, and shared. It was in the present that life was truly lived. Sarah's experience had been deeply personal, yet its ripples extended far beyond the confines of her own life. As she shared her story, with honesty and vulnerability, she found that it resonated deeply with others. Many had experienced their own glimpses of the light, their own brushes with the eternal, and her words provided solace, validation, and a renewed sense of hope. The fear of death, so deeply ingrained in the human psyche, began to loosen its grip. Conversations shifted from a place of fear and avoidance to one of curiosity, wonder, and a deep appreciation for the mystery and majesty of life beyond the veil. Sarah's journey back to life had been a profound homecoming, a return to the essence of her true nature. She had touched the face of eternity and returned with a heart overflowing with love, a mind brimming with wisdom, and a spirit dedicated to illuminating the world with the radiant light of her experience. Thank you for sticking with me to the end of this narration. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Conscious Chronicles. Until the next time, take care.